Hello everyone, our lovely viewers. We are yet again on another episode of the Checkmate256. It's week 2 of 2026 and we are 5 days away to Uganda's general election. And after a forced sabbatical because of the traffic on Mpigi Road, I have my friend back. Nicholas, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Harold.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and Happy New Year, our viewers. After a 2-week hiatus, I'm glad to be back to the show, analyzing the news events that made the headlines this week. I hope you guys are doing well and have entered the year in power.
How did you begin 2026? We missed you in the previous episodes.
Oh, yes.
You had very worthy stand-ins in Yusuf and Godwin Toko.
Yes,
they came in on a special editions, and I'm sure you watched and followed.
I want to applaud Yusuf Serunkuma, Godwin Toko. Thank you so much for coming through and filling in the gap. And I'm sure that we shall invite them back again because I think our viewers liked them and loved them. And for some topics, you need those kinds of people that, are thought leaders in their different constituencies to come around and add spice to the show.
We do this for you. You ask, and some of the things that we do on the show is they are as a result of what we get from your comments and your feedback, and to ensure that you have the best data, information, news, analysis of issues to ensure that these things. You can't be out debated on some of the things if you've been watching the episodes.
For sure.
Since we started. But now with week 2 of 2026, Nicholas, and as we said in our intro, just 5 days to Uganda's general elections.
Sure.
We thought that we would do this, and we can tell our viewers that for this episode, we are covering and doing an election watch, where we'll be telling you about the voter registrar controversies that have come up. We'll tell you about denominations by the Electoral Commission, tell you about the infamous Nakawa West Division constituency ruling, and also a summary of the campaigns. We'll tell you a little bit of the jazz with Jaja and how the campaigns, the general overview, since when we started and up to the closing, and also people who are sort of the candidates that are doubling some of the areas that have already been covered and why you're doing that. We'll also tell you about Uganda as an electoral district, give you a picture of how everything in 2021 was and how it is in 2025. We'll tell you about the voting patterns and also political gerrymandering of the clusters that have since been formed since, I think, 1995, and how they've come to be and what they represent for the status of the government, and if there's a game, what that game is. We'll also tell you about the arrests that have been made. Some people are being picked up still. Tell you about the story of Bireete. Tell you about the political prisoners or people who have been arrested since the campaign trail started. Mufumbiro and the group, the NUP supporters in Bireete and all over the country. And also the vocal prisoner cop, known as Cop Ampe, who was, I think, picked up yesterday from Uganda. We'll tell you more about that. We don't want to leave any stone unturned. We'll also talk about, Nicholas, about the limping Uganda cranes and the sorry display. And I think a little bit of the news from the athletic that voted our jersey the worst in the tournament. We'll tell the viewers about that. We'll also talk about a little bit of Trump and Venezuela. And finally, our parting shots will be the bold predictions of the 2020 elections. We'll pick a few constituencies and also the top seat and tell you all about it. Welcome to Checkmate256, week 2 of 2026. Nicholas,
Yes.
as I summarize the introduction, you see we have a lot to discuss.
We do,
But
indeed.
let's start with our election watch and talk about the voter register. There's a little bit of a controversy. The laws talk about the Electoral Commission. If you have fielded a presidential candidate and also members of parliament, they are supposed to give you the final voter register at least 14 days before the election. That delayed. And I think we saw a letter from the National Unity Platform asking for them. Finally, on, I think, was it on Wednesday? I think they were released. And NRM showed off with a yellow big truck that took over all the registers, and NUP picked here and there. Of course, we saw a complaint from the Secretary General of the NUP saying that they are faltering the laws. And they've been saying that you must stick to the paper we saw NUP actually requiring the Electoral Commission now to be standard and actually even display the polling station tally sheets and pin them on the wall as required by the law. We are discussing that also in line with the imperfections with the biometric machines, where there's been a rumor and some comments from some people from, surprisingly, the security forces, that if you are not recognized by the biometrics, you're not supposed to vote. And of course, some opposition camps are saying that what will happen is that in Kampala, they will say that the biometrics are not working and then somehow defranchising the people. Tell us about how the EC has set up in the things that I've mentioned and whether it is up to the task and delivering that.
Thank you, Harold, and welcome to the show, our dear viewers. Now, concerning the voter register, I have questions that I'm going to ask. Yeah. And then our viewers will form the opinions are going to be, you're going to form opinions of your own. You're going to come to arrive at your own conclusion. Yeah. Number one, the election happening is not like a funeral that you are here and they tell you that someone died. That something is abrupt. What? Someone died? When are they burying? Tomorrow but one. It's abrupt. You have to. No, this is a constitutional mandate that happens every 5 years.
And there's a roadmap.
There is a roadmap that is more than 2.5 years old.
2.5 years, yes.
Yeah, where they bring it to Parliament, they approve the finances, they look through it, they critique it, they correct it, and they start to walk in the steps of the roadmap that has been established.
Yes.
Meaning that if a time comes to the execution and we see so many gaps from the way the whole process starts, so many gaps, it only points at so many questions begin to, form. And in particular, concerning the voter register, I have these questions below. Number one, after going through this whole roadmap that started 2.5 years ago, and with everything that has come, why is it late? Why is it late? Is it a mistake? Is it an oversight? Is it an overview? Or it's a deliberate attempt to
play some game?
To not make enough time to correct? Because 21 million voters, that this election are going to participate in this election by the Electoral Commission figures. What if there is something that should change? There is, something. Yeah? That is the first question. Why does it come late? The second question is, when Sarah Bireete came talking about how the whole system, what they were trying to do with it, why it was going to be delayed, why it was, a voter register is supposed to be public information. That's why there's a time when you go and verify. There's a time when, when they hand over to the political parties, they're supposed to go through it and critique it. And, Sarah Bireete, when she talks about it, she had been, it's not like Sarah was not talking about most of these things before. She was arrested. She was talking about everything. For those who know how I've watched her, have seen how she has come critiquing, so many things.
That's true.
But the moment she talks about voter register, she is arrested. So ask yourself, why? This is supposed to be public info. If she's talking about public information, if I'm talking about something that is in the news, is known, or should be known, how does that become illegal that I'm releasing private info? Is that private information? Number 3, these young men come and form an app. I think Papa Were Salim, was it called a Fanon app or something? Yes. And that app is basically checks. I don't know how they feed into information through in the register, and it checks out inconsistencies.
And we saw Bobby Wine posting some of them.
Yes, and he was posting some pictures of kids that are like
double entries with different
3-year-olds on the register. And when they come and make that app, immediately they are picked up. They are arrested. So today I want you to be the one to form an opinion, because today we're not going to speak in straight terms. We're going to speak in so many parables. Yeah. So form an opinion. This thing comes out late. People who talk about it are arrested. Someone who has an app to help it function better, to be critiqued, is arrested. What the question in your mind forms is, what exactly are they hiding? Yeah. If you have a room in your house, Harold, where you warn the children, never enter here. You warn your wife, never cross this door. The house help sweeps and cleans everywhere except in that room. Visitors can come. They cannot allow to be shown that room. What do you think is going to come to the minds of these people? But what does daddy keep in this kind of room? So the question Ugandans are asking the Justice Byabakama is, what is it that is so controversial about the voter register that everyone who speaks about it, does something about it, is seen in the light of this is an enemy? So Ugandans need to ask themselves that question a few days. Unfortunately now, just about 5 days before the election, we are asking ourselves, what are you hiding in that voter register that you are protecting so preciously? It's like a precious stone you're protecting.
Let's discuss this in another angle. We've seen UCC come, and it's very strict on media houses to say, you see, what we've been seeing, I think every country that has gone to the polls, we've seen media houses where they just receive the information from different polling stations, and then what is being received from the tally center, and then they keep updating people and percentages of the different presidential candidates or whatever vote it is. Now, UCC has been very strict on media houses to say that there is not going to be such a thing. And if you're caught in such a thing, it's not going to pass. Discuss that in addition to what we're talking about, in addition to what we're talking about, the biometric machines and etc. Is the freeness and the fairness that we're talking about being arm twisted over and over again, that even with no specific proof, someone loses trust in the election process?
Thank you, Harold. Let me start with the biometric system. Like I made here another prediction. Maybe I'll make it among the bold prediction at the end. The biometric system is going to fail spectacularly on 15th January. Spectacularly, it's going to fail. I remember using an example when we discussed it sometime in an earlier episode about the biometrics. I think were there also biometrics that were supposed to be for the census?
Oh yes.
That census kit failing to do, people failing to be counted. But the good thing is that census is a window of like 7-10 days. So if first day
is just
failed,
a matter of hours.
And on the first day failed, the people had to be retrained during the exercise.
That's true.
For people who have also had a roadmap, and that's the problem with you see, the problems of Uganda are not isolated. You know, we were talking about Uganda Cranes earlier. The problems of Uganda are not isolated. There's a big line of relationship between you having the worst jersey and being a worst performer at the tournament. If you cannot see it, that this problem is in the DNA.
Issue, yes.
It's deeper than just on the field, what the display on the field is. This is the DNA of the team.
We analyze the results instead of the causes.
Like the gentleman said some time back, this is the history of the Tottenham. this is their blood. And no wonder every manager that goes there fails. Good team, a lot of money is spent, but it's just in the history. And that's the problem that we have with Uganda, is that this thing is so interwoven with the way the whole country runs, or the affairs run, that you have a roadmap, they have thrown big budgets. I was actually surprised that the gentleman that heads that entity still retained his seat after that, such a sham exercise, where they even now had to start to predict.
If we had continued counting.
Yes, that now we think. So when the results were released, I think people remember. So people started to, analysts started to draw, I say, so why has the number of people in this area between the population had been growing, now it has shot down.
But the number of deaths do not.
The number of deaths don't tally with the number.
There's no major migration or catastrophe that led people
and these guys had absolutely no. You could see that anyone with worth the assault could see that this was cooked. This was just, people just sat down and said, okay, what can we do? Why? Their system that we are going to use failed spectacularly. Now, I don't think that the EC has...
And the funny thing with the census is that they had met the globally recognized schedule and skipped some years because of budgetary constraints. And even after that time, and there's preparation, you still deliver that.
And there's a whole entity whose mandate is to do that and plan for the country. Because the statistics that you get from the census are supposed to be the baseline of how you plan for people.
You look at
elderly, so many
children, the women,
the
classification,
working
strata
people
for economics.
Exactly. All those things are supposed to come out of. But if you cook the result at that level, how do you think that the policymakers are supposed to act to make policies using phantom figures? So the problems that we have are systemic. And that is one of my predictions, is that this biometric is going to fail spectacularly. But
I may actually think that for the areas,
exactly, that's what
for the areas where the opposition,
where the main color is red, it's going to fail spectacularly. And you remember, there's just 1 day of voting, which means that anyone that has not logged in,
because voting stops at 4. So.
Anyone that has logged in their vote in that area because their biometrics have broken down or don't recognize you or something, you are being disenfranchised.
Well, the lighter side of things, or the brighter side of things, is that there's the Electoral Commission has gone and people are able to check their polling stations. Most of the previous elections, we've had issues where someone goes to polling station A and then they say, hey, you're supposed to vote to X. And it's like, no, some of the things that have been contributing to low voter turnout. And the good thing is that now people can check online and find out where they're voting. We actually encourage people to vote, because if you do not exercise that civic duty, you actually lose a right to complain about the state of things because you did not have your voice heard. But Nicholas, the second bit of that is now the discussion still on the Electoral Commission, how they've been handling the complaints that came in. We had a very long list of denominations, and I will sample some. How many people have been denominated since they were nominated?
Please.
From Matthias Walukaga for Busiro East, it was an issue of results and academic qualification. Patrick Mtawire Chamkate, the names of the list of the seconders had already been used by the opponent, Jacqueline Mbabazi. That's for the elder in Western region, I think. Jacqueline being the wife of the former premier, Mbabazi. Elizabeth Kakwanzi, Western region youth MP, had irregular supporters detail. Rebecca Abedekan, that's Nebi invalid supporter signatures. Daniel Murile, this was the winner in Budiope, where they said that somehow...
Yeah, that's a gentleman who had retired 18 months
from
ago.
Police, yes. First, the EC upheld, and then when it went to court, also Justice Simon Peter Chinobe said that there was no proof of resignation, and that a letter that had been... that the letter was showing that they had accepted his resignation, but he said it wasn't signed and stamped, and it was not enough proof in etc. Are we talking about deliberate defranchisement? Are we talking about or seeing deliberate deleting from the ballot of some of the opposition candidates? Is it a cash bonanza that we do not know about? Is it an issue where the EC and the courts are viewing technicalities more than substantive justice? What have you read into that story? Because I just mentioned a few, but it's a longer list. We actually even had an issue in Kawempe where 11 candidates were disqualified, leaving one elderly man of the NRM.
That's in Makindi. Thank you, Harold. I think that this issue runs deeper. Yeah, but to understand the depth in which it runs, and this is my updated view, having seen the ferociousness, that it went to, because the first time we analyzed it was just a few people, and we thought that it was because of these power brokers that want to be on Museveni's campaign, not wanting to be in their constituencies.
Yeah, we discussed that when we were discussing how the former president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, how they became independent. Yes, Kenzo's wife.
Honorable Nyamutoro. Yes. Yeah? We were discussing that at a certain point, and but I think that view was limited to the scale and scope of... We
didn't know how deep it would run.
How deep it ran. First of all, to understand it deeply, we need to first understand, when you're reading the statistics, and yesterday I saw, I don't know if it was a newspaper or someone compared them on social media, of the people that have been denominated.
Where they belong.
And the ones that have been upheld or left in the race, where they belong. Yeah? But the most absurd one, of course, is this one of Moses Magogo. But the question is, why has it become deliberate? Why has it become a matter of life and death, to a point where the NRM appointed the deputy speaker as the chief person to go around convincing independents and NUP leaning, opposition leaning figures to defect, Of course, so many stories have come through of guys who have defected. They are promised
and then
money.
have not been paid.
Then they have not been paid.
We
then
saw
they
the gentleman from Isinjo saying, I'd
Yes.
gone to the NRM to spy. Now
Yeah.
I'm back.
It was so funny.
Yeah,
Ugandan
it
politics
was very
sometimes you
funny.
just have to laugh, yeah. But for me, what I saw as a history student, I drew parallels, yeah. And this is a deep issue. I today it may sound like it's just using so many words, but we are going to be around. I hope you are around long enough to see it, yeah. I drew parallels to the election of 1980, yeah, where the Electoral Commission that was under the supervision of the then, he captured the Electoral Commission, the then chairman of the Military Council, what's his name? When he captured that, because he was
that Paul Mwanga?
Yes, Paul Mwanga,
Yes.
thank you. Because he was getting orders from Obote, who was, of course, they were trying to pave way for him to come back and to return, yeah? They started a deliberate campaign. Because Obote was very unpopular, like I had said before in one of the episodes here. He was very unpopular in the country. So many blunders he had done in Uganda, in most of the country, apart from, of course, the north.
The north and Bushenyi.
Yes, and some parts where the UPC was still a strong party in Bushenyi and whatever. So they started a campaign of denominating people. By election day, they had 14 unopposed candidates. You see, that's how this election guys have been celebrating unopposed and saying now we have how many unopposed. You've seen Emmanuel Dombo and all other NRM, along the structures, how they are celebrating that now this person has become independent. Now this person has become unopposed. This person has become unopposed. Yeah. By the eve of the election day, 14 people of the UPC had been declared unopposed. On the very eve, I think 3 people from Kasese were also declared unopposed. Yeah, because they denominated the other people one way or the other, So, but why was that? That was because that political system was that whoever gets more MPs in the house, yeah, the leader of the party that gets more MPs in the house
is the president.
Is the president of the what? Of the country. So when I looked at the manner in which these people are obsessed, because this is not just, they are obsessed with unopposed people, but also bribing out at all costs. Some of the people have had insane amounts of money thrown at them, very insane amounts of money thrown at them to just say, let me just, maybe even if I remain in the election, let me just, so that the NRM MPs can do what? Can populate the house. I have fear. And sometimes I say these things, and I hope it's not true, honestly speaking, that considering how this election has gone, how these campaigns, everyone has seen these campaigns, irrespective of the side that you're on, you have clearly seen that the NRM has become increasingly unpopular. It is very hard. It's going to become very hard for them to get the popular vote.
But people will argue
like
against
it was
that.
hard for Obote. Actually, Obote did get the popular vote in 1980. The DP beat them on the popular vote, but they had a trick up their sleeves. Is that we have more MPs in the house, we get to form a government. My fear is that this might be the last time adult suffrage is the style in which we choose our president in this country.
But that needs a referendum. Would that pass?
I think it would pass.
In what country, Nicholas?
In Uganda. And that is another bold prediction of mine for the next 5 years. Is that the obsession around populating the house with NRM-leaning MPs, must point us to something. There is an agenda. I am telling you, there must be an agenda that this is pointing towards, and we're going to be here for it.
That's a very bold prediction, especially with most people saying that it's highly likely that because of 3 things: the violence, the commercialization of politics. I mean, we've been reading stories of the conversions and the behind scenes of how it came, the influence of AAA and Double T, how they influence things that from brutality that we've discussed before, from the commercialization and also the grassroots reach. I don't think there's any election that the NRM has mobilized from the grassroots than it has shown in this 2020.
Yeah, so exactly. So ask yourself why. Ask yourself why.
Maybe
the posters of someone was saying that the posters of Museveni as if
it's standing for the first time.
Yes, like people don't know him. He has to. He's the most popular. I think he's the most popular man in this country. Definitely, I think everyone really has seen the face of Museveni multiple times over. Even if a child is 2-3 years old, yeah. But they have painted everywhere. Grassroots. They are trying to actually credit to his team because they have done, I think, a very, very strenuous task.
Nicholas, let me ask you something.
Yes.
If, for the things now, if crazy Trump comes in and saying, you know what, I don't care what you have, I'm going to organize this election myself and supervise, and I'm just trying to drive to the point of if it was free and fair.
Yes.
What would be the percentages of the 4 most popular candidates?
For me, my
like if it was as things are now someone independent comes in because let's just do away with they rigged the election. There's a lot of data. It's never a reflection of what the turnout is always at the polling session. If someone independent came through and it's free and fair, what would be the percentages of Museveni, Bobi Wine, Muntu, Nandala Mafabi?
Harold, first of all, at this point of election, this election cannot become free and fair because
that part I understand because we said that it's a process. Yes, it's a process. Yes. And I also want to I totally understand. Daily Monitor did a story about polling stations in Luzira. I hope you read the story. Where there are different polling stations in Luzira. The opposition candidates are not allowed to go there and campaign because it's not prisoners but staff and stuff like that. But when you go inside, you will see NRM posters. And when you read the 2021 register for Electoral Commission, there are over 10,000 voters in those polling stations. But it's a place that no opposition has campaigned and stuff like that. So I understand that free and fair does not happen on the election day. It's from the nomination and what we've been discussing. But I'm talking about
my prediction,
the results.
Harold, I'm not talking about. I may not extend it to the 4. But my prediction is that none of these 2 foremost candidates gets 50+1% of the vote.
That you think Museveni wouldn't get the 50+1?
Never come close to.
So you doubt the popularity of the man that has dropped so much that he can't get 50%.
See, Harold, we have analyzed this election from the start.
Yes.
Our podcast started when the elections were starting. I think primaries and everything. If you want to understand what I'm saying, the point I am making, or the background of what I'm saying comes from, let's analyze a rally of Museveni in. Now we are saying he's going to repeat 3 districts. Mbare.
Iganga, Kasese.
Museveni is going to go to Mbare, or Iganga. You're going to see the crowds. People at these crowds, first of all, are hired.
But that's part of the.
I am coming because you see that does not reflect on that. That is where my point is coming from. That there's a difference between someone who gathers 10,000 people when they have hired buses, giving them T-shirts, giving them transport, giving them food, have lined artists to perform for them, facilitated structures at all levels. These are people mobilizing at different levels: DSOs, PSOs, WISOs, MISOs, MENSOs. They are all mobilizing for the same thing, and someone who raises a genuine 6,000 people that are crazy, have overcome tear gas, have overcome
it's supporters and fanatics.
Have overcome tear gas, have bought a flag, have looked for a red T-shirt of Airtel to put on.
Have a jerrycan of water. Have walked, tear gas gets funny. I will
have walked, are risking their borders to be taken away, but say that let us come to the general world that might be a little bit uncritical. You will say, this is a bigger rally. But when you when you look at the conviction, when you say okay, today there is no money, no bus, no mobilization, no coming, nothing. People, I'm the president. I am here. Come. How many people of the 10,000?
We talked about schools and students that were filling up rallies.
Yes, we'll show. And you saw. And when the students went back home, so everyone is trying to to
It's a
form an
gig.
association. Yeah, it's a gig to just get money. Let's get money.
We saw TV presenters register one and announce
I saw
it.
comedians. Of course, musicians have been at the game. Of course, comedians are seeing musicians. Everyone is actually seeing musicians. They're like,
And then they play one another.
We are all creatives.
We saw mechanics.
Yeah,
yes.
mechanics.
And even presidential advisors fighting because of the project.
Yes.
To them, it's a project.
I saw, I don't know, it was a joke. I saw someone posted, I think it was Toko, the thing of prostitutes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yes.
was it real or it was a joke?
It is actually.
There's a whole
Yes.
thing of prostitutes, an association of prostitutes coming. But so that's where the president has, everything is just throwing money at. But you see, money does not change the hearts of people. Because you see, when someone is in Kamocha, the ghetto structures, and you just throw.
They will take the money because they need
yes,
the money.
but they are in the problems that they are facing down there cannot be solved by, even if, let's expand it and say everyone shared 1 million, which is a very big.
We saw clips of people who are receiving change 2,000.
2,000.
Yes, you saw the clip.
That, apart from the musicians that, are at that level, these people down the ghetto structures, mechanics,
$50.
they're getting like 50K, like 100K, or at most, if the people are faithful, they put the money in maybe the organization and then they can get some loans from there. But you see, that does not change the daily living, the daily conditions.
You're trying to hack a problem.
And that's the problem that I used to have with PDM, is that for that 1 million to be able to help someone, it must find them in a certain state.
Be posted by a system.
Throwing money at every problem does not solve it. And that's why I am telling you that, Harold, that I don't think that any of the two candidates
would get the 50%.
Would get the 50 plus 1%.
So would be waiting for a rerun.
Yeah. If it was.
Unfortunately, that's a hypothetical.
Yeah. It's just my.
Yeah, but also still talking about, and we're discussing the election watch. If you're just joining or phone someone watching this, we're discussing the election watch in light that we are just 5 days away to the elections.
Thank you.
What has also made the news most, and as we tend towards the election, were the rulings of the Electoral Commission and also the courts. And I had you complain about one of the judges. They don't have the liberty to. But everyone yesterday was waiting for that ruling where Bowe Ivan was suing I think the 5 candidates, including the leader of opposition, NRM's Burora, Henderson, and Ramiti, and then the Electoral Commission. Also challenging the decision of the Electoral Commission where they were saying that Nakawa West and Nakawa Division West were different constituencies, and he was the only candidate. And Justice Achelam, I think Collins, dismissed that application without costs and pointed out something that I found very interesting, which I think the Electoral Commission has missed for long, to say that this would be a deliberate, a scheme to pass through the window to parliament instead of forcing the people, face them and campaign and then get the votes, which the Electoral Commission, I think, in my own opinion, has not focused on. And it has focused on technicalities more than just substantive justice. There are, of course, different discussions about, of course, the delay of the ruling, that it was not just a mere delay, that there had been some trying to play, but also for all the decisions that have gone to that court, the one that went to a different judge is the one that people believe they won and that was just. There's been that discussion on how, of course, the independence of the judiciary, how the EC has handled the issue. In light of that ruling, what has been your reading of the room around those decisions?
Thank you, Harold. One, first of all, I was ecstatic. I think the other night I did not, I kept refreshing, I kept checking.
Waiting for the ruling.
I kept waiting for the ruling. Why? Because I was very, very invested in this matter, because personally I stay in Nakawa West, or Nakawa West Division, whatever you want to call it. So this affects me as a person, and as a person that is alive to my civic duty of choosing my leader, I feel like it was going to be very unfair if the court or the EC had chosen the leader for me. So that's why I was very restless, and I was looking and I think I tweeted about it. I said, I've been waiting for this thing for long, you know. But for me, what the judge highlighted was always my brother, is that you're disenfranchising about 30,000 people, 33,000 people that are in Nakawa West here. You're not giving them a choice to choose who should represent them.
I get you.
Yeah? And that the technique and the petitioner, if the petition had been on ground and is, has been campaigning, has been, doing work, you could say that maybe, but the fact that The petition is not on ground. I traverse this. I do a lot of work in the community in Nakawa West. I traverse this constituency a lot. You also do. I think you are in here a lot. Where have you seen his poster? Have you seen any one of his posters? Tell me that I saw a poster at Prime or in Chisase, I met it in Chanjao.
He's on TikTok live like Luzi.
You can't be on TikTok live like Kasuku when you're looking for elections in Nakawa West. Let's be serious. You see that kind of thing? So, one,
the judge actually to quote said that the effort of the appellant through this petition is an audacious attempt to sneak to parliament to represent a group of people whose mandate he has not obtained.
Exactly. And while I think I was speaking to some people earlier, I tell you, this gentleman, first of all, let's applaud the judge. You know, I understand it may not come out clearly, but there was a reason why the judgment had to take a delay for a day. I know there was so many forces fighting, especially the leader of opposition in parliament, because it was being vocal against the system. And now the power brokers that have come, and we'll talk about that later in bold predictions for the next electoral period. Sure. But the petitioner, Ivan Bowe, I happen to know him a little bit. Yeah, he has what it takes to actually look for elections, seek the mandate legitimately of the people.
Go seek out votes.
You know, that's what disturbs me, is that he actually has what it takes. This gentleman was, I think, HP in his high school. He was guild president in Makere.
It's not his first time standing, though it's his first time standing in Nakawa.
Yes, it's not his. He is actually, he can make a good legislator. You know, I'm one of the people that believe that, of course, now when you continue doing these things over time, the general public, people start to see you as you're just a joker. They think you're just a guy. But
they know your value.
That gentleman is not just a guy. You know, when we were in campus, because I was part of the 79th Guild that was led by Adeke Anna. He sat in as the honorable member representing the Empire of Lumumba. Bowe came in the 80th Guild that we handed over to.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
And when he comes in, by then,
standing with Sarah Aseru.
By then,
yes, he was DP.
Yes, they were DP. By then, university were allowed to have political parties. Actually, were very strong in university.
That's true.
And the politics of the university then is not like these days. These days it's like a high school. They denominate people. Then this person, you know how Nawango has made this.
Denominating is not for high school. It's on the national.
Karuhanga, how he has made Chambogo. You see that some people are behind because they're popular. They are NUP. They have been denominated. It has become like high school now. But the politics of our time is to be guild president of Makere University. You had to have cajoles. You had to put in a strenuous effort. You know. So Bowe is denied the party flag by UID. They give it to Asero Sara.
Yes.
Yeah? When they give it to Asero, by then if you didn't have a party behind you, because having a party behind you
very tricky to
meant that you had a system and you had some money.
Some backup.
Some money coming from, you know, the national the parties.
UID was strong at that point.
It was very strong.
Yes.
You know, and so was DP. Yeah? So when we had come in, we found that the guild president was Onekalit Dennis. You know, 77th Guild. He was FDC.
Yes.
After he was succeeded by Ivan Carter.
Yes.
78th Guild. He was DP. That one was succeeded by Anna Adeke, who was FDC. Bowe was the first independent candidate in a long while to win that presidency. To change the status quo. Because when UID denies the flag to Bowe and gives it to Asero, Bowe says no. I am coming as an independent. Yeah. So the party throws its weight behind Sarah Asero. Sarah Asero not only had money,
she had political backup.
She had political backup because I think she was the daughter of the minister of local government then, the Honorable Onzivua. Yeah. So she had everything, I think, and she had the most iconic tune in our time. Remember the Kadodi thing, Sahara Asero, Asero Sarah. Yeah.
You would just hear it everywhere.
Bowe came and in like 3 weeks to the elections, dismantled the score. We believed in him. Then I was Lumumba, was outgoing GRC. We believed in him. We campaigned for him. Guys got him posters. People would be buying posters, taking them to their different colleges. So Bowe has what it takes to convince people
vote
to go down to the grassroots and vote people. What makes me
even
sad?
disseminate the functions of a legislator.
Yes,
he can do that.
He can do that really.
Definitely.
Right, really well. He's a very intelligent man. People who see
maybe we know a former boy and there's a new version. Maybe.
I see people, talking about him on social media like he's just a joke. He's not a joke. This is a solid guy. If he decides to, what hurts me and what really I was concerned about is the brand of politician he has made himself into. Yeah, that software of that old DP. Yes. Where everything was about a lawsuit. I think DP had so many lawyers.
That's true.
Yeah, that old DP had so many lawyers and everything. Good, brilliant lawyers, the remnants of these of Mpuga and who. Everything was a lawsuit. Everything was, all the elections were lawsuits. So it for us who know what Bowo is capable of, it saddens us to see that he's trying to catch the mandate through someone waiting for you in a corner says, you go through me, I'll catch you in a technicality. That he needs to disorient himself from that kind of mind. He has what it takes to actually face the people and say, guys, these are my issues. He's very articulate. I want a mandate of you people. Can you give me this mandate? Yeah. And
also to discuss that he's been very vocal and critical of the NUP. And his transition, I think now he would be coming on the flag of, is it FDC or FFP? One of the two.
Now I think FFP is what is on his poster, but he's inclined more to DF, to the gentleman of DF.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's why I was very happy that the judge, Collins, the Honorable Justice, decided in the way that he decided. Yeah? Does this one single ruling mean that now the judiciary has gotten a cure? Absolutely not. That one should also be clear that we are not excited to say yes. Now,
it's not something you point to as a reference.
This is not something that we point to. There's a judge we talked about earlier who I mentioned twice, and I don't want to get into it because when you're into this kind of thing, you can always get in trouble with. But you can see the consistency of his judgments. Honestly speaking, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I read the thing of the opponent of the Budiope.
Yes.
Moses Magogo in tears. I was like, how can an honorable judge, honestly speaking, say that a letter is not that sincerely?
I see the pain in your eyes.
I got the image, and someone today was talking about it, but it could only remind me, Justice Kavuma. In Justice Kavuma, he had just had a way to a point where he wanted to change his name, to change his age when retirement age came knocking. Yeah, I think that I had thought that brand of shameless, we had left it, but it pains me to see that even in the future. That was a thing of the past, but it pains me to see that even in the future we have still to contend with some of these things.
It remains a discussion on whether we have an independent judiciary. Whilst the Chief Justice struggles for it, maybe at the opening of the law year and stuff like that. Of course, there are still discussions that for political cases, there has been a deliberate way of allocating them to what people have known to be cadre judges. But that's something that can be discussed.
The Chief Justice is, by the way, as we discussed earlier when we were discussing the case of the former Supreme Court Justice, Chisachi, is not excluded. Yeah, in the system that I understand that his advocacy and good enough.
But you see, our hope comes in, for example, I thought, even when I am not at liberty to speak being an officer of court, but some of the things are limelight that, for example, I can imagine how, and when you're discussing the grand scheme of things in a country like Uganda, you later understand why. For example, if we were to discuss the ruling for the Kabaziguruka case, of course it was a relief that it is delayed for some time, and then there's pressure over and over again, and circumstances push them in a way that they have to decide. It was a relief when it came out, and it came out the way it did, to say that you're not at least sanctioning this.
No, so
and then later the parliament narrows it down.
When that gentleman retires in 2 weeks or 3,
it's not very far off.
About a fortnight from now, he will have some gains that he has, but I hope that he can sit down and reflect. So the debate is this a systemic problem where no matter which person comes, the system will swallow them up, or some of these things must bear personal
I think
liability.
there are names from Justice Udo Odoma, the first Chief Justice of Uganda, to Justice Owinyidoro. There has been a breed of judges in between that have represented the letter and the spirit of the law.
Yes.
That you could not bully, that you could not arm twist in any way, whether it's an external force or arm of the state. That you couldn't, and because we have even judged matters in the name of Benedicto Chiwanuka. There are those who have suffered at the hands of this because they refuse to bow to Baal at the time or whatever that Baal is. So it's not a systematic problem, because if you want to oppose, not to oppose per se, because in Uganda it's looked at as opposing, but if you want to stay true to the blind lady justice, but you can be.
Can you? You see, Harold, we must accept that the Uganda of 10 years ago is not the Uganda of today. And I've been seeing the gentleman of UCC. He's working overtime. The man is working overtime. I don't know why, but he appears to be working overtime. Change now, this app will not work. Now we can shut down this. He's always just trying to flex to say that the government has so much power. You guys are powerless. We can shut you down. They arrested some people.
Have you downloaded BitChat?
Definitely, I have. As a person who likes free speech, I have definitely downloaded BitChat. I don't know.
It's a discussion. Maybe
I'm not going into the technology of how it works, and I hope it does. But why do you shut the internet off? What are you trying to hide? What is that thing that you don't want the world to see? You're the cover of darkness. Why do you want the cover of darkness?
I get you. Yeah. Final comments on the summary of the campaigns now that we're coming to the end, and maybe throw in a minute or two your comments with Jazz with Jaja. I
think that the final is that the different candidates are trying to go to places where they need to reassert the authority. Most importantly, yesterday, of course, the Honorable Chagulanyi was in the West, and he was blocked from going to Kanungu. Rumors suggest
that there was a hand of a certain minister.
There was a hand of a certain minister who hails from that district.
And the pitch that had been booked was given for an NRM function.
An NRM function. But I am more interested in where Jaja is going to go. Mbale, you saw the crowd, you saw the frenzy. I think Mbale overtook. What was the?
Iganga,
I don't remember the.
Kasese.
No, it was Ruwero, Iganga, Masaka.
Actually, Nakasongora had a very big NUP crowd too.
But you know, Mbale was...
No, it was Ruwero actually.
It was Ruwero. It was frenzy. Yeah, that's why it was frenzy. It was, people were animated. Yeah? So I think the team chose those hotspots because of the really
how they showed up.
Opposition for yes, the NUP candidate. And we're going to observe and see what happens when he goes there. Like I predict, crowds are going to be pulled because the systems that are in place and the money being thrown around. But I want to predict again that in their voting patterns, they do not show the same. It will not show the same.
Okay, let's cross Nicholas. What we are doing for our viewers right now is to explain to them in our second segment Uganda as an electoral district. And we will also talk about political gerrymandering. We'll talk about the voting patterns for 2021 and the numbers and the beauty of everything. We're going to start before we go to our focus discussion, which will be by the Great Lakes Election Data Series number 1 of 2021 that was done by Greece, where we'll pick some pieces of data, the election atlas in Uganda.
Please.
But from the website for the Electoral Commission, we have for 2021 up to now we had 146 districts. We still do 146 districts. We have 312 counties in Uganda, and we have 353 constituencies. So that means 353 directly elected. Then we'll add the women and what. Yes, I will give those statistics later. For the special groups, and maybe if you're watching for the first time or if you've never paid keen attention, the setup of Uganda's parliament is that for the 11th parliament.
Yes.
Just to put things in perspective, Uganda has 353 constituencies and 556 members of parliament. Now that has the directly elected, the district representatives. That also includes the women. Then the special interest groups. That's youth, people living with disabilities, the workers, the older persons, and then the UPDF. And then we also have the 27 ex-officials. Those are the 27 cabinet ministers. And then the key groups include now in summary, 356 constituency MPs, 146 MPs, 10 UPDF representatives, 5 each for youth, those for the regions, and then PWDs, workers, older persons, and then the 27 ministers. If you go on the Electoral Commission website, Nicholas, right now, we have 146 districts that have been considered, of course, 312 counties, 353 constituencies, that hasn't changed from 2021, 2,191 sub-counties, 10,717 parishes. We had a discussion a little bit of whether the opposition has the grassroots on those areas that we're talking about. And the villages, Nicola, 71,214. Now, for polling stations in 2021, we had 34,684. Those increased by over 20,000. In 2026, we have 50,736. And then for the number of registered voters, where a discussion we've already had here, in 2021, there were 18,103,603. In 2026, they jumped to 21,681,499. Those are the people that are registered to vote in this election. Maybe you can tell us through some of the patterns and the regional figures that we are looking at as far as the Ugandan setup as an electoral district is concerned.
I wanted to talk about political gerrymandering as a whole.
Please.
Maybe our viewers may not understand what political gerrymandering is. It is a system where
there's a deliberate creation.
The creation of constituencies, so districts,
voting areas,
constituencies, is so that it favors a certain kind of candidate, and in our kind of system entrenches a
support
system.
Yes, in some areas. And
when you see the history, of how the electoral places, from constituencies to cities to the division of the cities has come occurring over time. You're going to see, and to be able to notice that, if you look through the 20,000 that have added from last election until now, when the NUP wave came and took over the central region, you're going to see it light and day that now the predominant, back in the day where the regime had a lot of support, the west, a little bit of the north, and some parts of the central here, districts were coming up left, right, and center as a reward. You voted me in power, so what reward you with the district? This is were being given out as a reward, because they were campaigning for him. We did this kind of thing, so so, and that would mean like maybe 2 constituencies in the district plus the woman MP. That means now 3 more members of parliament, in the house. So
people remember that when the East was a very stronghold for the FDC. People didn't get districts when everyone was getting to the point that they undressed, some ate rats.
Thank you.
But nothing came through.
Thank you. Why do you think that was not coming through? It's because they know every district they create, they are creating at the very least
posts, 5 MPs.
About 5 MPs that will put on blue or red at the end of the day. So when you look at the history, and you see, and the problem is that when this system finally expires, because what goes up must come down, we shall have the sentiments that have been created. It's going to be very hard to re-emerge, because a regime that wants to take Uganda forward is going to have to find a way of reducing the size of this parliament.
I get you.
And the administrative costs across the board. The number of districts, the number of, sub-counties, everything up to,
over 500 MPs do not
So
make
that
sense.
is actually going to be one of the biggest problems of the post-NRM Uganda is
To
how
undo
do we,
that and
how,
those doings,
yes,
yes.
how do we take the country back into a state that is efficient and benefits the country most? Yeah, because now the people have already developed. Me from Shema, I don't think that we can say, okay, Shema and Mitoma, please make one district. People will not allow. So where does the headquarters be?
Yeah.
Will it be here? Will it be the other side? Will it be, So
Very hard to undo.
it's going to be very, very hard to handle.
Also put what you're discussing in context.
Yes.
For the 15 regions that we have in country in Uganda, West Nile has 15 constituencies.
Yes.
Lango has 21, Bunyoro 19, Buganda 78, Toro 13, Renzori 8, Ankole 35, Chigezi 16, Karamoja 17, Acholi 19, Teso 24, Sebei 6, Bukedi 22, Bugisu 17, and finally Busoga 32. Yes.
So you can already see the statistics may not speak to how these were created.
Yes, because
In
the
the
history
time-
of where we were in 95.
Yes, in the time that they were created and what the political atmosphere was in the time that was created. For example, so you can now understand that between 2021 going forward, there's going to be few multiplication of constituencies in and around the central region. Why? Because the way it is different. It does not benefit the people that give the power. Meaning that the creation of these entities, as opposed to what should be, that there should be, because the population has expanded, now it's too big to be administered under one arm now. That is not the criteria that we use. We use that criteria to populate the parliament as a reward. So it is a very fundamentally flawed system.
I get you. Let's go to the voting patterns for 2021 and where you think there will be a change. If you're looking at, what do you think would be the general voting pattern in Buganda? Let's start with region by region, starting with Buganda where we sit. Do you think there will be a change in terms of what NUP had previously and how much work NRM has put to change that report for the 2026?
Yes. I think there's going to be some change in Uganda, in Buganda.
Buganda, yes. We're starting
On
with Buganda.
on three fronts. One, I feel like the NRM, I don't know which one to start with, which is weightier. Let me start with the fact that the wave in 2021, took everyone by surprise. Even the candidates themselves who are just were lucky enough to have the flag, but you have the likes of Bazira, you have the likes of so many candidates who have not showed up, who have not done a lot for the people. I was discussing with a gentleman who comes from Mawokota.
Yes. Where the Chiaga and Amelia.
And Amelia are. And although the wave came and those people came into power, I think some people have not shown proficiency in being members of parliament. Yeah,
so
you're part of
an automatic thing
you're
that
part
you have
of a popular wave. Yeah, that's okay.
But
but you can't say that for you. The legislation to you is I can sing at your wedding, I can sing at your funeral, because you used to be an artist. So
you must deliver.
So number one, what will change the pattern is number one is some areas, the underwhelming performance of the NUP MPs in some areas. Yeah. Number two, the NRM has also put in a lot of work, into Buganda region. But also deeper than that, the wave took them by surprise. I don't think that the Museveni of today can allow
what happened in 2021
yes,
to happen
and
again.
You need to, understand the word is when I say allow, is that they cannot allow to lose the whole of Buganda. Allow meaning, even if the people decide so, that these people are not willing to kill an eye and say the whole of Kampala, the whole of Wakiso, the whole of Masaka, the whole of Butambala, the whole of Ruwero, the whole of Bukoma Nsimbi, the whole of Kalungu, the whole of Kayunga, Buikwe, that all of them belong to the opposition.
I think there will be some.
I think that
there will be some yellow in maybe Mawokota, Rengo.
Yes.
Mitiana, the lady might overtake them.
Yes.
I don't think that the Senindes and in Wakiso that might change.
No.
But predominantly, I think Buganda will be red again.
Yes, predominantly.
Yes.
Buganda is going to, but not as red
As it was.
Because last time it was a wave, it was wherever you see umbrella, just tick.
But the good thing is that I think the candidates that have been presented by Red now represent the need to cure that lacuna, that it's not everyone who just comes for the flag, especially for Uganda, that got it, that there's that need to. So I think apart from the areas that I've talked about in Mityana, in Rengo, in Maokota, in some areas in of course Ruwero, there might be some yellow coming in through, and it's more of personality than just
because after people realized that, for example, I was talking to also some people who took out this gentleman from Mukono, or they are around.
Oh yes, the guy who had been the chairperson LC5 then became the MP.
No, I don't know who stood against him, but Muyingo, wherever he was from, he's from Muyingo, and they were saying we disadvantaged ourselves. The guy was giving bursaries to so many kids. He was helping so many people. He is a generous man, and apart from this whole, he's actually used to be a good person, giving so many bursaries to people, because I mean he's a school director, so many schools, promoting community programs, and the people were regretting, saying we took out the man because of the wave, because it's part of the system that we feel oppresses us. But on a personal level, he also says, I have withdrawn because I've been supporting these bursaries because I can earn some money in parliament. Now that you have taken away this, how can I support this? And which I would think that is fair. So they were saying that but now unfortunately he retired from standing again. So in those constituencies where there are those personalities, I think.
How is the Busoga voting, the 20 districts of Busoga?
Busoga is going to be predominantly red. Okay. Yes. In my assessment, it's going to be predominantly red, except for a few where they have tried to, a few personalities, again, Kadaga, of course, now the other one who was the DOP and whatever, where they hijacked. But Busoga should be predominantly red.
Ankole, nothing changes?
I think nothing changes. I think what changes in Ankole is the percentage. That Ankole really, if this was 2011, 2016, it was, 2016, because also FDC had some part. Yeah? But with the weakening of the FDC, in the last election, definitely Ankole fell to Museveni massively, to the NRM, historically. But from what we have seen in the rallies and everything, even when you go on ground and listen to the sentiments of most of the people, it will vote the NRM by a landslide, but the numbers may not be, realistic numbers may not be the same as the previous times. Yes.
How about the shock of the previous election was the North, Acholi region and West Nile, where all of a sudden, maybe because it was the first time that to them Besigye was not on the ballot, that they predominantly voted yellow. Is that going to stay the trend, or there might be some changes?
I think it is.
So you still think that the yellow will take the North and West Nile?
West Nile may be different, but not predominantly. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so I think we just thought that we could give you a general overview of the election and Uganda as an electoral district. So as you head to the polls, know the grand scheme of things and the numbers that matter, and we hope that you picked a thing or two. We are going to our closing stories of the day, Nicholas.
Yes.
And let's talk about, in a minute or two, the arrests that have been made since the campaign started. People who are in prisons and were picked from the campaign trails, but also the vocal thought leaders and specific attention to Dr. Sarah Bireete. We talked about her a little bit in the previous episode, where there's police storms her place in the festives. They are doing a search, and after a search, then they make her do a statement and later just get to charge her with something that was to do with data protection and privacy and stuff like that. But also other leaders are in prison. We have MP aspirants in the names of the spokesperson of the NUP still in prison, the Eddie Mutwes, etc. We have people who have been in prison. I think there's a gentleman called Machete from the NUP who was arrested in 2021 and has not been brought, nothing hard, no bail, no nothing. And while the colleagues made a deal and were released, he was one of the kind to say, nope, I am not going to dance with the devil. I would rather stay here than compromise with what I stand. And he's been there. I think he hasn't appeared in court since then. And it's a story of very many others. And finally, we also had one of the vocal former officer of prisons, Uganda prisons. I think it's called Cop Ampe. He was picked yesterday from Uganda. After he was dismissed from Uganda prisons, he has now been picked. And of course, while the state says it can't abduct, of course it can abduct, because if you do not follow the normal procedures of an arrest, that's an abduction. There are many people, and there's been these stories following the campaign trail and what has been covered. Please, just give us your 2 cents on it.
Thank you, Harold. I will not go down to individuals, because these are many, and we shall classify these as political arrests. Yeah? And talk about it in a minute by saying that, you see, responsibility, Harold, has been shifted from what the government, the responsibility the government should have over the state and of Ugandans, to the people that talk about that same thing. Yeah? Bireete, and most of these people, their biggest, the other prisoners, most of them, the NUP people, from the Mufumbiros to the Eddie Mutwes, the Akileos, the ones of 4 years ago, 5, their biggest crime up to date, is supporting the Honorable Kyagulanyi. They are not terrorists. They are not murderers. Yesterday, you remember how this gentleman who murdered someone came online and he was giving advice. He was telling people not to commit, not to do their civic duty. Matthew Kanyamunyi. Yes, yeah? Murdered Akena. He's out on the streets walking because of whatever law system I will say we shall understand that, But these people that have been in prison 4 years, 5 years, 6 months, 2 years, not been with their families.
This was the comments of Winnie Vyanyuman, auntie, who came and say, while I stood with you in that trying times,
yes,
understand that you committed a crime.
Yes.
You were punished for it.
Yes.
But some of these people you're telling about, as if you want to arm twist to say that they should not exercise their civic duties is not in fear of going to prison.
My candidate is not shooting someone on the street because they scratched a car.
Yeah, different things.
So when these people are brought in and their crime is that they are supporting a candidate, Bireete, her crime is that she is opening the eyes of the state to say, you have abandoned your responsibility. You have abandoned your responsibility. And the people like Bireete, people like so many other people that I do civic spaces, their role is critical, is that they are the people that must remind. And sometimes even the people, we forget and fall into patterns and don't remember that it's actually the responsibility of the state to build you a road. It's actually the responsibility of the state to find that there are drugs in hospitals. Yeah? So what this country is doing is that it is abandoning, instead of constructing roads, it is arresting people who say, guys, this road is not constructed. You see that kind of thing? Let me give you an example. Yeah? Because you see, Harold, we must create a country that works for Ugandans. And as long as this country does not work for Ugandans, voices are always going to come up and say, guys,
definitely,
we are going in the wrong direction.
It's not a country of mutes.
Around 2020, when the COVID started, I was doing certain projects on the islands. Yeah? From Chihin, Nboyikwe, through to Bumarenge, inside Doorway, all the islands of Buvuma, I think, Buvuma, Bugaya. I went all over, the islands in that time. I think 2020, then later also in 2021. Yeah? And the animosity with which the army was chasing people off the waters, was unparalleled. And of course, they give the results. They are, fishing young fish, using illegal nets, illegal whatever. And I understand that as a person. I was there for quite a while, so I got to understand, what they were trying to do. But that was not even the reason why they were doing what they were doing. And later, between then even up to now, they continue to chase those people from the waters en masse. Now, these are people, Harold. The water is their livelihood. Centuries and generations, they are fishermen. They have been fishermen.
Don't speak for their great-great-grandfathers on the shore.
You know how people can have a heritage Yeah, there's so many fishing communities around the world where the ocean or the lake is their lifestyle.
It's the net and the fish and the boat.
This is what a father will hand down to the son, to the grandson, to the generations to come. Yeah, you come and strip these people of their livelihood, of their pride, of their way of life.
The unit was disbanded now.
It is. I'm going to come to that. Yeah.
Please.
Imagine if someone came and took cows away from the Ankore people, the Bahima, or the Barar of any kind. Cows to them are not even just an animal. They look at them as, it's not even a possession. It's a heritage. It's a way of life. Can you imagine someone trying to change the way of life of the Bahima to say that now, no, you are not allowed to, for one reason or the other. Yeah, you're not supposed to keep cattle. That is provocation of now. How should someone defend that? In what way should someone defend that kind of thing? And then they are bundled off. They are all this toil. Chinese are being allowed to come in and fish the Nile Perch because of its, I think it has a thingy inside there that, is very profitable on world market in medicine and everything. Yeah, to a point where one gentleman of Asian descent came out, I think about 4 years ago or so, and said that they were trying to pitch around and table something, to make sure that Ugandans don't eat importer. Can you imagine that kind of provocation?
I get you.
Like the locals, this is their lake. You've taken them out. Now someone is coming, a foreigner. He's coming and saying that these people are, the way the importer is too profitable for these local people.
Let's just take it off their menu.
Yes, let's take it off their menu so that it is now, it's illegal.
More available for the world market.
It's more available to be exported. This country works for you when you're not to region, when you're not to Okomo, when you're not to Okot. It works for you when you're Chingzu, Sanzu, Pineti, and the likes. So when someone points this kind of thing out and says that, no, we are going in the wrong direction. Now, instead of the government self-introspecting and saying, in whose interests are we working? Are we working on the interest of the people, of the populace, or these foreign people? They start to come and say, no, you are the one who's talking about it.
Sure.
They pick you. You see that kind of thing? Every time I pass by Rera and I see that rice thing, I ask myself, if the person had a proposal, and went and saw the responsible authorities, but his name was Nwamanya.
If they would have given them that place.
If they would have, his name was
Matovu.
Masava. Or Masava. Or Achiro. Yeah? Would you have been given that right to farm that rice there? You have all the money, you have a good plan, you have good proposals. Everything is on table the same way they were for those people that are running it. You see that kind of thing? So let's create a system. Let's create a country that works for us.
So our policy is lacking as far as that is concerned.
It's non-existent. What I'm trying to address is that the problem is not the people talking about it. The problem is that this kind of thing is happening. When corruption happens, and I talk about the corruption, I am not the problem.
I get you.
You're shooting the messenger. When Johnson realizes that the white workers are coming and are going to annihilate the entire realm, irrespective of whether you are any of the 5 kings that are fighting, he leaves Casablanca. He comes down and pitches his speech to every one contending for the throne.
We either unite or we are.
He says we need to unite against this common enemy, because if we wait to first fight among ourselves, there's no one who will inherit the Iron Throne, because all of us, what is coming for us does not say we're on this side or the other side. He comes down and warns the realm, and the realms unites until the long night comes and they defeat the white walkers. Then they go back to their wars. So if Sasi had arrested John or done what, that does not mean, because you see, when the beginning scene of that show, a guy runs from Castle Black and comes and warns Ned Stark and says, I saw white walkers, I saw these things. True. But because this is something that had happened so long ago, it's in folk tale. Yes. It's the same way when people started the rumors that Daenerys actually had dragons. This was a thing there has not been dragons in this realm for how many years. It's like a folk tale. Yeah? But that does not mean that the white walkers were not there, or that the dragons were not there. So when we warn of these dangers and say, guys, the path that we are taking, yesterday I was slightly saying something on social media, said, but if the decision comes out that they have denominated Senyonyi, honestly speaking, it's beyond. Like, guys were all, what can you do? What will you do? This is not, have you read history?
You're things that trigger.
You're speaking from what is present, but you have not understood that this country has come from a very tumultuous time, and we thought that we had made headway. So the arresting of these political and the people that are being picked up, does not address the problems. The question is to the authorities: how many people are you going to arrest? How many people are you going to bring in? The question, the answer should be that let us work on the problems that are being highlighted. Don't shoot the messenger. Work on the problems that are being highlighted, not the person that is actually highlighting them.
We have to switch.
So we will stand strong for Sarah, for Ampe, for everyone that is in prison as a political prisoner. Yeah? Hopefully, your sacrifice is not going to go...
It won't be in vain.
It won't be in vain, and it won't going to go to waste. And maybe... And those ones who also have departed from us because of this kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe our children and children will study and know that there are men who stood for what we now enjoy as a country.
I get you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on that. We also talk about, and we have entered in it in a minute or two, the limping Uganda crimes. And we've talked about a very horrific performance of the AFCON, which actually it's going to be a co-host in 2027. The Pamoja bid was successful. So the next host didn't do very well. Unfortunately, it was in the same group with the other co-host, Tanzania, and then Tunisia. We lost the game against Tunisia 3-1. We drew with Tanzania, failed to convert a penalty in the dying minutes. And then we also lost, I think, 3-1 to Nigeria, with all our three goalkeepers conceding something. We've had a series of comments, and we are now not just discussing the results, but that result as it turned out, the Athletic, which is one of the major sports channels, ranked, I think, our jersey as the worst, which is manufactured by a company whose option ownership we don't know, but it was a project by FUFA to say we can manufacture our jerseys here and stuff like that.
Janzi, I think.
It's called Janzi. Yes, that discussed. We saw the comments of Uganda Prime Minister Takatichiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, saying like we even need a reinvention from the point of let's change the name. When people see Uganda cranes, they think this is a weak bird. Let's like name ourselves the Spears. Let's look for colors. He's talked about the league idea as a league to say that the parastatals should not be owning clubs in the local league, because what that does is that they have the money, but they can't have a fan base. They should be instead, for example, financing the traditional teams like Express, Villa, whatever. The discussions have gone on and on to say there's a problem with a dictator in FUFA and stuff like that. But as a person who I know is a very ardent fan of the local league and of the Uganda Cranes, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And if we are also, of course, people also were also talking about the physique, that we are weak, we are short, we can't compare with West Africans and the Arabs, and the physique for the game, that there's no deliberate plan for us to compete on the world stage and even on the continental stage. Your thoughts in a minute or two.
I think that the problems of Ugandan cranes are deep. Some of them supersede just Uganda. They are on the African continent. You know, as we talk, Gabon dissolved its football team.
Yes.
Nigerians have been striking. I think today is Friday.
Yes.
Today there's supposed to be a semi-final. They said they will not go for it. If their salaries are not paid, bonuses are not paid, and someone on the team said, I will pay them, so that if they're not paid by Thursday, I will pay them. I've been reading that somewhere in the news.
One of the players?
Yeah, one of the players said they will pay them. I think he plays in the Premier League. Then you have, of course, Uganda. Comes to the camp.
Also had Cameroon and Eto with all the games.
Yeah, you remember Cameroon had two teams.
Yes.
The coach chooses one,
and then the
president of the Football Association chooses another. So now we don't know which team is playing. Is it for the president or for the coach? Yeah, you have so many of those things. Yeah, but the Ugandan cranes come into camp early enough, really, but they strike. Yeah, They say their bonuses salaries for the previous campaign, I don't remember which one exactly, have been unpaid. And off goes our best defender, Elio Capradosi.
Which is a rumor.
Yeah, apparently, yes.
There's a rumor that it was an injury, and other people are saying that it was a demonstration.
It was the
one that led.
Yes, the one that led
We must clarify for our viewers that Uganda Cranes players do not receive salaries because they are not staff of FUFA. They just receive allowances. Yes.
So that kind of thing already demotivates the team. Their best players are out. The morale is low because you're not paying them. And this one I'm speaking on Africa level.
Yes.
There's no time. Have you ever had like that France national team? They have not been compensated well, or the coach is like, people who take their football seriously. And I think that is one of the problems, especially here in East Africa, is that we don't take football as a sector.
We look at it as a passive entertainment.
We look at it as more of just entertainment, and for it sometimes to take away the heat from what is happening in the countries, just, So when you still have problems concerning, and this is not even just for football, this is across the athletic field. There's so many athletes who have been promised monetary, allowances and everything, and don't receive them. Actually, most of the athletes just really work independently, they train independently. There's no body. Then the body now collects them at the end and says, now, these are our athletes as Uganda, and then they go to take selfies at world events.
I get you.
So there must be a deliberate plan on how to incentivize. That is part of the motivation that Charles Peter Mayiga was talking about. These guys are not motivated. They don't know whether they will be paid. They don't know if, for some clubs, in the local leagues, they don't know if they will. I remember I'm a part of the fan base of the most successful club on the land. And sometimes the fans will be fundraising for people who get injuries. And
for the treatment, yes.
For the treatment. And honestly, so because, the club does not have money. But these are our players. We need them back on the field. Even more than that, we need them to be well. Yeah? So we need to strengthen the local. I understand what Mayiga was saying. We need to strengthen the local leagues. Yeah? It is out of the local leagues that we form the national team. Then at the national team level, we need to make sure that these guys are motivated. The other day when they were sleeping here in Chisasi here in dust, while their counterparts they're going to play are sleeping in Serena. It became a political issue. When you talk about it, it's just because you don't like the owner of the hotel and his husband who runs the association, and her husband runs the association. No. And the thing about FUFA that I talked about is that any view that is not generated from the leader is seen as opposition. So it's now,
I would rather keep quiet on my ideas until someone mentions it, then I will supplement.
And there's this, because the leader, Magogo, is also a politician. Now it's like anything that does not align with his view is opposition.
I get you.
Yeah? Someone is trying to, they have this defensive, even on the handles that they use for the national team, you find the admin is fighting fans. These are fans. These are the people that are supposed to pay for tickets and come and support the cranes.
And then
the guy is being mean to them casually.
Yeah.
Because they have asked a casual. I mean, like how fans can do. We do this even for the European teams. Critique management, coaches, decisions, substitutions, and everything. But you don't have even the court to take in that, the skin to take in that, so that these are just fans.
Or you can keep quiet.
You can just, that is...
You can ignore.
That is what the teams do.
Yes.
Even when they ask the managers some of those fan questions in the press, they just brush them off and say, no, for us here we are fans. Social media, what were they saying? They pretend they have not even seen them. But here you must kakasa, you must matiza every single fan who says, but that jersey is not good. Then you come and... When these jerseys came out, didn't Ugandans come and say, guys, this is not a good jersey?
Yes.
Yeah?
And guys even posted alternatives.
And guys did alternatives. And even guys have alternatives that they printed.
They put on, yes.
Yeah? Honestly speaking, my
and instead of improving, FUFA was threatening to say, if you manufacture something like this...
Now, instead of saying, let's take this as positive criticism. You remember when the Uganda Airlines, at their launch, had a very fake cake that was supposed to be, when Ugandans criticized it, they said, okay, let's have people, I think, make the cake and we shall choose the best.
Yes.
That is positive criticism. But you see, at FUFA, when you say something that is different, you remember when they were trying to change the league?
Yes, I remember.
And I was debating with a friend of mine who's at FUFA, and this guy is, I could look through him and know that
he's captured.
He cannot change his mind because That is how
he knows
maintains
there's
his
no
job.
hope for an alternative. Yes.
So he was debating with passion and saying, no, this is how the league is supposed. I said, how's how the league is supposed to run? Like which league ran like this?
Where is your template?
What is your template? Can we just study it? Why is it being rushed? Yeah. So there is this whole thing that it's something against, it's us against the world. That is not how it is.
We can sit and agree that this is not working.
Yes, that this is not working.
Like this.
For example, that's just a thing. Very simple. Tell fans, say, let's, like they did for the cricket. The cricket thing they did, they said, let fans, people can designers design. We shall choose the best 3, then you guys can vote on which one.
And
is
knowing
the
the politics that are in Ugandan cricket, they saw through that one.
Yes. So FUFA can decide, but the egos can't allow it. It's now when someone says Jazz is not good, it means that they are opposition. Maybe they are sponsored by someone. Maybe the previous Molindwa now wants to, I don't know why everything through their lens is us against the world. Yeah, because a thing like that thing would have brought the fans on board, because fans would have thought we are part of this process. Yes. Tell the designer Jazz, choose best 3, create a poll in like 24 hours, fans vote on all platforms, and they feel that we are part of this, and they will flock the stores and bring out and buy out that jersey en masse, and be proud to support the team. But no, our egos, then we threaten anyone who produces anything else, a replica. But my Sunday League team share has a better jersey than that thing they were. No wonder. Do Ugandans,
even in Chapa League, the Bulls Islanders, you have a better jersey than...
Yes, you do. Do Ugandans really go to Athletic and say, no, but at international level, they have called out...
This is also a local company making...
Yes, they have called out your thing that this thing is fake.
It was the headline.
They have called it out that, no, this material of this thing is not it. So I think the problems of Uganda cranes are like that. There's some...
I was going to save you from... As we switch, I was going to save you from commenting on this. The Trump and Venezuela, until I saw that they put a bond for applying for a visa and your affordability might not reach. So please, tell us your comments about Trump.
Thank you, Harold. It's something I forgot when I was talking about, I thought to address it, when I was talking about this counter working for Ugandans. Trump, when he comes in the first term in 2016, in his inaugural address, he says something very fundamental. He says that this regime, everything that we are going to do is going to be America first. Yes. It is going to be America first. Meaning that the image that America has created over time as the world's police, as the chief humanitarian of the world.
Well, the locals are suffering here.
He has withheld, he has withdrawn America from so many UN agencies, including the thing in Kenya, UN Habitat.
Yeah, true.
Yeah? Because you find that in an organization, and he explained that in an organization, you find that, maybe say UN Habitat, if they have a budget of, let's say, 200 billion, just for estimates, just for example's sake, America is contributing like 120. Then the rest of the UN is contributing 80. So he says, but this is, America is the one supporting this thing. How do we gain directly from it? You saw the thing around US aid.
Yes.
Personally, someone very close to me was affected by that kind of thing of US aid. But to America, to Trump, they are doing things that put America first, put their citizens first. Yeah? And sometimes I wish that is the lens that people that are selling this country to Chinese, to foreigners of every kind that are coming around, inflating land, inflating rent costs. I wish they were that patriotic to say that the first mandate, the primary mandate,
the Ugandan benefit,
is that Ugandans can benefit. I saw someone, I think it's a radio something, some program talking about how the original Ugandans are no longer the people owning land. Yeah, I think he was calling them aboriginals, like the people who were the
inhabitants.
When the Ugandan borders were drawn in 1926, the people that were, these are Ugandans. You know how they are not the ones
owning the
that land. Are owning land and the means of production.
I get you.
Yeah. So Trump and Venezuela is that the Americans are now doing two things. One, of course, they are the world's police. They are the big bullies. They're they're the big boys, so they can do whatever they want. But everything that they are doing is to the benefit of their country So there is that selfish bit. But number two, on a larger scale, I feel that it is unfair. Yeah? It is...
I think what you're looking for is wrong.
It is wrong.
Illegal.
Yeah, it is actually illegal. This is a sovereign nation. You know? Should Putin go, like people have been asking, go to Ukraine and bring Zelensky out? Should he target him and shoot him on a plane when he's crossing, you know, going to pitch in different countries? Should... why should you arbitrate between Kagame and Tshisekedi?
And then the next day...
And then the next day, you're the one, you know, picking up a president of a sovereign country. Now, this is irrespective, because I want to come to the bit where Maduro is actually a dictator in the country. Yeah? But instead of being a dictator...
Why are you saying Maduro being a dictator?
Maduro being a dictator in his country does not justify a foreign regime from intervening.
Because it's a template of Iraq and how we got to Saddam Hussein.
Exactly. So I think that it is very illegal.
Does it prove UN as a teethless dog?
UN, like I've told you, there is no UN. Most of these agencies, you should study the formation of the UN after the world. See, when World War II ends, you know, when World War II ends and the UN starts,
the League of Nations
big
and then the UN. Yes.
Boy of the World War, when World War ends, the countries that win the World War are basically about three. The Americans, the Red Army of Stalin, and of course the British. Because the Americans are not on continental Europe, they work with the British. Of course, the French had been beaten. Those were just allies in the background. But the two people is... That's why the
three big dogs were...
Yes, those were the three big dogs that defeated the Nazi Germany.
And then
so the Red Army came from...
Allied forces, the France and what, they just come and...
The Red Army of Stalin came from the east and did most of the ground, did most of...
the dirty work. Actually.
Did most of the dirty work and came and stopped in the middle of Berlin. These ones came also and stopped in the middle of Berlin. Shortly after, when they're defeated, they get into ideological differences. Already there were tensions between the communist East and the capitalist West. Yeah? So America, because Britain was a shadow of itself, it was actually on the verge of bankruptcy.
That's true.
France was no more.
Prime ministers residing here and there.
So America was now the new big boy on the block. That's why the Cold War was basically between America, although it is communist East and...
But it's just America and communist.
And capitalist West. But now America was representing the interests. So it is under these Americans that the UN agency was... UN and all the subsequent agencies were formed. Meaning that even in their formation, America remains the
nervous system.
The central nervous system that is holding all these things together. That's why when Trump decides that America is going to withdraw from this, from that, it's going to become very problematic for the UN to uphold most of these, agencies without the support of the Americans.
Which is both.
That's why people have been saying that the whole of Europe is on its knees, because some of them are starting to debate, should we... Because most of the times they were running actually the American agenda, NATO, most many things, So now they are coming to... Trump has brought a perspective of America first. He has put America too fast for even its allies. So its allies are starting to say, but we have run the agenda of these people for a long time. What happens if we decide to also choose...
the exception of Israel. But
Israel has a different case.
Yes,
it's a very different case altogether. And they're not Europeans and whatever. What happens when we just also decide to go our direction? But is it sustainable? Can we do without American products, American oil, American dollars, whatever? So it's a big debate at the world scene. But this Trump regime is going to be of so much consequence. And I think that it has accelerated so many... by the end of these 5 years...
many events.
It's going to accelerate so many events, not just in America and the Americas,
the world over.
But in Europe and the world over.
Sure.
Yes.
Now,
but what happened in Venezuela, irrespective of Maduro being a dictator, and this claims that he won, he got 37% in the last election, and forced Biabakama of Venezuela to announce him, and so many things, jailing of opponents. It is wrong. that someone can come and say they have removed Museveni from Uganda. That is wrong. That is
Kamanyiro.
Yes, it is wrong at all levels. The sovereignty of the states must be respected.
Parting shots, which we said I will dictate your parting shots today with bold predictions of the 2026 election in Uganda. By the time we have the next episode, by the way, if our internet is not shut down, we'll be here on the next episode, that is next week, 1 day or 2 after the elections, to give you what transpired and tell you more of the stories that will have made news during the week. But by that time, Uganda will have cast their votes for the next president, for the next MPs, of course, with the rest of the elections for the local leaders taking place in the subsequent days. Nicholas, 1, Sodo and Jet Tumwebaze. Who's taking it?
Sodo. You want to ask me why?
Remy Aga? No, I'm not asking you why.
I think you need to
Remy
ask
Remy Aga,
on the
Rashande
same note.
Rashande and Sechikubo.
Rashande.
There's a hot Rashande is taking it.
But you need to ask about Sodo and Tumwebaze. You need to ask me why. Honestly,
why
it's unfair.
Okay, in 1 minute.
This election will go down to violence. In that region, this election will go down to who is more violent than the other. And I don't think that Jet Tumwebaze matches the madness of Sodo. So
there's a hotly contested area that Ugandans do not know about, that the leader of Buganda NUP, Muwanga Chivumbi, is facing it hot red in his constituents and might not come back. What's your prediction on that?
I've read the reports. I've not really interfaced with.
I have.
I've not interfaced with someone there or gotten
Candidate
deep.
is a former broadcaster.
Got them deep into there. But from what I've read is that it's not automatic for Mwanga Chivumbi. So I can't predict that now.
We will see how that goes, but it's really, really hot on the ground. There's been a lot of mudsliding for the gentleman, how he owns the band, yet it's a Muslim community, how he has no home. You had the speaker talk about it when Museveni was there. Mpuga, is Mpuga returning to Parliament?
Mpuga is returning to Parliament.
He will take...
I think he will defeat Javira. Masaka is different dynamically. And I was telling people the other day when we were discussing it with some friends that the people might vote Mpuga, but Masaka is basically an NUP stronghold, but Mpuga is their son.
Mawokota?
Ameri Achambade
is going to defeat Dr. Hildeman
in my bold prediction.
Akalia Magwa and now the replacement for Walukaga?
Magola
will take it, you think?
Landslide, that is a landslide.
George Musisi Semojo?
Very tight. Too close to call.
You know why I'm laughing? Too close to call.
Too close to call.
You would rather not comment.
Yeah.
Then we have Roy and...
Roy Semboga.
Roy with the Chagulanyi's brother.
Roy Semboga. I would vote him if I was a member, if I was voting from
I'm not
Nakawa.
talking about who you vote. No. I'm just saying what is on the ground for
what
you
is on the ground,
moving.
What is on the ground is that Roy seems to have good support.
I actually think that Chairman Nyanzi will take it.
Let's wait and see.
Yes. Have I left anything that I wanted to ask you about?
Nakawa West is definitely...
Yes, Nakawa West, I think the leader of opposition. For
Honorable Senyonyi is going to take it by a landslide.
By a landslide?
Yes.
Not a strong fight by Burora or anything. Will Burora make 30%?
He might. NRM has structures, so many structures, but the popular wave, not even a popular wave, people love the Honorable Senyonyi.
There's been another one that we need to discuss, and I will also take a prediction. On the ground and the comments, I think there was an opinion poll that was done by one of the NGOs where people in Kampala Central were saying that the SG for the NUP had not gone on the ground and had not campaigned while your man Luzi was on the ground. What's your call on that election?
Luzi has not been on any ground. He is actually
in the face of the people. Those are two different things.
Anti-campaigning. He says he doesn't want to associate with dusty people. He doesn't want... Luzi's style cannot win him this vote, because this vote goes down to Ugandans are people that are emotional. Did
Bongaya take the voters for granted, or it's automatic? Because
Bongaya didn't take voters for granted.
He's doing a bigger role.
has been going on, but also his role as the SG of the whole party. You know, and he's not privileged that he can force to be an opposer. He can go on the place like so many people around Museveni have done.
And Ruth Acheng?
Ruth Acheng.
You think
yes.
she will?
Yes.
Interesting.
The thing of being born there, I think it will supersede the other one who was married there.
Okay. Parting shots now, and then we close the day.
Other bold predictions.
I'm leaving that to you.
Is that is that
Who's taking it for Bara? I forgot to ask. Rukari came back as an independent.
Rukari will not win.
So the guy who took the flag will take it.
Yes. The
Okay.
guy who
And
took
Watekama, is he standing for anything?
no.
Okay.
Kachebes will again win the
Watekama,
mayorship.
when the time comes.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I should ask you this. Shema municipality.
No, municipality, Kateshuma is taking it. Both money and then the weaknesses of the opponent. The flag, party flag is very different dynamics. Like if there's commercialization, it's hard for someone to give you their 10,000 and then they see you in the back of Nicholas and stuff like that. But for a secret ballot and for someone who has run out of steam, Kateshumba will take it again.
North.
Erioda is taking it.
South.
I think Mushemeza.
Kamuntu. I think
Kamuntu, you think Kamuntu is coming back?
Yeah, Kamuntu came back. I think he's going to win it.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a hotly contested election in Bushenyi where the wife of National Water is standing. Mujisha.
I think on the same issue of money and machinations, being able to deal with the EC and everything, it's not going to be one on credit. I think Mujisha's wife will take it, but not on credit.
I was actually thinking that there might be a shock there.
Not on credit.
We might get a shock there.
People cannot accept. You know those kinds of people will not accept defeat. The people's minds have shifted from her, but she has what it takes to win it.
A Ugandan election by all definition.
If you know what I mean by that, so I think Mujisha's wife might.
Okay, that is it. That I think we can only wait and see. I think these are predictions. Elections are very funny. Something can happen today and then change the outlook of things. But we hope for a peaceful election. I think my parting shots is to invite everyone to go and participate in their civic duty. Let's increase that voter turn up dynamics better than what we have done for our previous elections. But from us and the team and people behind the cameras, we wish you a very peaceful voting season and hope that in the end, Uganda will win.